Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of What Were You Thinking? This is going to be a production we put on through Texas Quidditch Conference. We're just going to take a few minutes of your time to walk through a couple plays. I've got Sam Selle here of UT, formerly of UT. I'm going to let him introduce himself and say a little bit about himself. How you doing, Sam?
I'm doing good. My name's Sam Selle. You can call me Selle. I played on Texas Quidditch last year, and the year before I played on Austin Quidditch. I'm currently just graduated from the University of Texas, and I'm actually headed out west once COVID dies down.
Very cool. So like you said, you play for UT. What we've got here is filmed today. Texas A&M and UT. I've got a play that we're going to walk through. As I refer to these different players, do you mind telling me what pronouns we prefer?
Yeah, mine are he and him.
Perfect. Okay, so what we've got here, I'm just going to go ahead and mark up a couple things. We've got the start of a play where you guys are playing defense and you only have one bludger. I'll let you take it from there, just a little bit of a breakdown of the situation we've got here. You can probably give us a little bit of background on this game, these two teams, what point in the season this was, and just lead us into the play.
All right. So this is pretty early on in the season. At this point in time, I'd say that Texas and Texas A&M were probably the two best collegiate teams at this tournament. This is A&M Classic, somewhat in the middle of the day, I think. And as you can see, the score currently, UT is 1 point from putting it almost out of range. So A&M is going to take their time on this possession and really just they want to be patient and get the score.
Yeah, and the game time, I'm not sure what the game time is. We're 15 minutes into film time, so it's a little bit less than that just because of stoppages probably. But yeah,
Yeah.
we're seeing if A&M can keep it within range. And so what we've got here is you, Selle, lined up in front of Casey, who it looks like
Mm-hmm.
actually has the bludger.
Yes.
And they're stacked up here. I picked the perfectly wrong time to really break this out. But what kind of beaters do we have over here on A&M?
Shania Carroll and Samuel Sabarzo, I believe. They have control currently. And yeah.
Yeah, and they're approaching there, and we've got the quaffle way back here, so we're going to see, I'm going to go ahead and let this play clear off these marks. Let this play run through, and you could just sort of walk me through. We'll give it one playthrough, any high-level notes you want to add, and then we'll just sort of break down any points you want to focus on, okay?
Okay.
All right, let's go.
So as they approach, I'm positioning myself between Casey and Samuel. I didn't notice Shania get pretty close to me, and I managed to swipe the ball from her. And then I continue my momentum, and then there, I managed to catch the ball and then beat the quaffle. It happens very quickly. And then Casey is still there though to beat Hayden, who drives, and then we recover the quaffle, and now we have both control and the quaffle.
Perfect. So, are there any special things you like about this play? I mean, obviously, when Shania walks up here, I really like the focus that you have. You can see that you're checking in on her, even though you're engaging with this beater up top, Sam up top. And as soon as you can tell that she's not looking at you, is when you make that movement.
Yeah. I wait a second for her to kind of get a little bit past me before going in and swiping the ball. I think Samuel, her partner, notices, but he doesn't say anything until it's too late. And so, but at that point, I've already picked up the ball and am deciding this. Samuel has walked closer because Shania got lost her bludger, and so I'm deciding. I guess I might as well just trade with him and then see what happens from there.
So at this point, you've looked up at Sam and you decided I'm going to go engage him.
Yeah. I'm like, might as well continue my momentum.
Okay, is there any communication with Casey there?
No, I definitely probably should have said something as I was running forward. Casey does a good job of holding her own, even though Shania goes and like starts harassing her.
Yeah, I think that's one of my favorite things about this play is if we just back it up, 5 seconds, Shania's got a ball here, and yeah, like she does make a mistake where she loses track of you and loses the ball, but she immediately decides, okay, like I've lost that. What I got to do is stay in this play, and she immediately goes to engage Casey. And so Casey's essentially taken out of this play, and you go make the decision to interact with Sam. But you can see
Yeah,
how Casey has to tuck that ball, move around, and without having a ball, she's still majorly impacting this play. And it just so happens, like, this interaction you have is 50-50 for both of you guys. You just happen to win in both ways.
yeah, Yeah, that's you're totally right there. Like the fact that I managed to catch that is like one in like 100. Usually we would just both get beat, or worst case for me, like I would miss and he would beat me. And
Right.
then yeah,
But even in that, we'll back it up one more time. Shania's gonna engage, and as soon as your interaction happens, she disengages and tries to maintain possession. She has the wherewithal to
yes,
throw up a fist to check for immunity, but her main priority here is getting that ball and throwing it back to make sure her team at least has one, no matter what happens down here. And
yeah.
I really like that. Is there anything that you notice about this exact situation right here? Because I think this part is also really interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So what I noticed here, so one thing I would like to note is that I catch that ball and I decide to continue moving forward, and I beat the quaffle carrier, who at the time does a really good job of spinning, simultaneously passing the ball off to Hayden, which ricochets my ball off the pitch and removes me from the play while also getting the ball to his partner. This is the moment that I think that Hayden could have just reset it, and they could have tried again, but instead he decides to drive forward. He sees that Shania has a bludger very close to Casey, which might be part of his decision here. Um, but as we see in just a sec, Shania goes ahead and throws her ball back to make sure that they have at least one, and then that leaves Casey alone, just with like able to focus on Quaffle, and
Yeah.
she manages to beat Hayden.
I just want to back it up to exactly that moment you're talking about. So you have your interaction, you win, and you force, and he does that spin. There goes the ball. His quaffle
Yeah,
comes up here, and he's going to catch it. And in this moment, he's got to make a decision. Just like you said, he could reset or he can drive. But what you see here is that ball's out. He sees that that ball is out of play. Your bludger's almost no consequence to him. The other bludger is in Casey's hand, and she has her back to him. And so I don't actually fault him for driving in here. He sees a bludger that's engaged with his own. He's got to make the decision now. He decides to go in. Everything about that play makes sense to me.
yeah.
And he's
I
just
would
going to
also
go in. Go ahead.
I would also add that like throughout this whole match, like A&M's beaters had been struggling to kind of like keep pace with like Texas beaters, and so like in that moment, like that was an opportunity for him when Casey wasn't focused and I was off pitch for him to, like you said, go for this drive.
Mm-hmm. And I think this highlights just the perfect awareness that Casey has here. She was able to see somebody harass her, and she moved past that, and she forces the throwback here. And Shania is not really as much of a threat to her now, but the first thing she's going to do is turn and find the quaffle, and without hesitation, she launches it
Yeah,
and gets that turnover. So everything about
yeah,
that play, I think from you guys works great. I think nobody really made a bad decision there. Shania obviously can keep a better eye out on you when she's approaching, but that's something I think you'll learn with experience.
yeah, yeah.
Anything else about that play before we move back? Because there's something else I want to take a
Um,
look at.
I also wouldn't fault Shania too hard for that positioning. It would have been better, I think, if she had gone like just around to my left instead of to my right. Or but like as we'll look here in just a second, she was on a bit of a hot streak actually. So like stuff happens.
Yeah, let's see if we can find that timestamp. Okay, so now we're going to the play just before that. We have UT approaching, and you can see A&M's got full control here. Go ahead and walk me through this play. I'll give you just a
Yeah.
second to set up.
So there usually when you're approaching an offense, trying to get control back, you want to focus with your partner on one beater in particular. In this case, we decided to focus on Shania, which in retrospect was probably the wrong decision, because from my perspective, just looking at Samuel, I didn't see him earlier in the match, very strong and athletic, but doesn't seem to have he's not as experienced versus Shania, who is definitely like on like the smaller side, but she has a lot of experience. We still decide to target Shania, Casey going behind her. But yeah, you can play it for a sec. So we move forward. Shania takes the opportunity to beat Casey. I have to move forward, but then when I move forward, I also get beat by Shania after beating Samuel. So I move forward because I want to take advantage of Casey's like getting beat, but Shania really quickly just recovers and then beats me as well, and then does this great play, just throws
Oh
the
yeah.
third bludger just off the pitch,
I want to say
like
one thing.
in
Because what she does here, she is a low throw, hard to catch, and then
Yeah,
the very next
yeah,
opportunity is another low throw at you.
yeah,
You
yeah.
do try to jump over it, but it's two very
Not,
safe bets.
yeah, like yeah. She only has to throw the ball about like I don't know, like 6 inches versus like a full windup, and she gets to recover the ball immediately after she beats us. So really smart.
Yeah, and we're not talking about what's happening in the quaffle game here, but we do have a run at the goal, and all the beaters
Yeah,
on the ground. This is something that a lot of teams I think will learn to figure out. Will eventually learn. You've got all the beaters, all the bludgers on the ground. Both your beaters are beat. You've got Casey here, you're running back. If you score here, there is an opportunity for transition. And I don't know if your chaser, who is that?
Grayson.
I'm not sure if Grayson is fully aware of that or if it just happened this way. But he launches this ball. It's gonna go back here somewhere. I'm not
Way
even sure.
back there.
But
Way back there.
what it does is it gives your team the opportunity to recover from the fact that you don't have any active beaters in this place. So there's no opportunity for transition. So when there's no bludgers in hands and all your beaters are gone, then I think the option to just launch that ball is fantastic.
Yeah, I think this is really the only opportunity, or the really probably the best decision that he could have made in that moment because Spencer went for that cut. You saw his passing option, and like they can no longer reset the ball once all of the chasers have like engaged on hoops.
That's a
And
good
so his
point.
really only option is to try to go for that shot, which if he misses, that's okay because it's off pitch. If he makes it, that's also okay because it's probably going to go off pitch,
Right.
and we get the score.
Good point. Okay, and this very next play I think is really, really neat. She sees an opportunity. You said Spencer right here, right?
Yeah,
He's going to start running back once that play goes out. All these bludgers are on their side of the field, and she's going to pick it up and try to beat him.
lob it off pitch.
Right.
Well, try to beat him. Yes.
Yeah, try to beat him. I'm a beater. We'll give her the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
We know
Yeah.
what
She
she's
she was.
doing, but okay. So she lobs it. It goes off pitch quite a ways. Even though your quaffle is all the way, A&M's quaffle is all the way off pitch, so is your bludger. So there's this moment of lull, and I think some college teams, some newer players, a lot of people will probably take this moment to just sort of rest. And I think that's where this next interaction is really interesting because your bludger is way off pitch over here. Both of UT's beaters are off screen here, but we're gonna see sort of. I'll let you talk through if you have any thoughts on what's happening on this play.
Yeah. So Casey got beat first, so she's already running over there, fist up. She gets there, and then Shania positions herself between Casey and where she wants to go. You might want to go back a sec because it
Yeah.
happens really quick.
So
But
here's Casey.
basically, yeah. So Casey gets there, and you can see me also off to the screen, and then Shania and Samuel have like mostly Shania has taken a very forward position and is forcing Casey to decide whether to not to beat Shania or to throw it back. The safer bet is to throw it back, but Casey, like you see her hesitate. She's like, I could beat her. But that's what Shania wants because she knows Samuel is there backing her up. However, just like the play we saw before, or the play after this, Shania loses track of me. But then what's really crazy, if I guess go ahead and play it, I see an opportunity to try to like woof the ball, but what happens, and you can't hear it because it's silent. And then Samuel beats me, and it's all fine. And then Casey makes her way back because now no one's pressuring her. But the really cool interaction that I noticed in that was that Shania doesn't even look around at me. Like if you notice, like watch her in this play, she's watching Casey. She just throws the ball back towards her hoop because what's happening is her teammates are yelling at her like Shania, woof, woof, like basically warning her that I am right there. And instead of taking that moment
That's what
to
all
look
this
at me,
is.
yeah, or that, and more importantly, her teammates right next to her. I think that's
Okay.
Mackenzie O'Neill and Samuel. Yeah, they're both calling at her as well as her team on the sideline, saying, "Hey, watch out!" And she trusts them completely and just throws the ball back, which is the perfect move there because then Samuel beats me and they maintain control. If she had taken that moment to like turn and look, I might very well have been able to swipe the ball before she would get a chance to throw it back. So that was like really like cool to watch.
That is cool. Well, it leads into the next play. I think the point to take away there is that there's an opportunity where the quaffle's not there. That doesn't mean that the beaters can't still interact in some way. Again, I think everyone there made all the right decisions. Just somebody's got to win it, and A&M walked away the winner in that round.
Yeah.
And then you guys walk away the winner in the next round. So, I think that's all three of the plays. It's just over a minute of playtime, but three really interesting things from a beater perspective. Again, I think Shania's awareness on the approach on this upcoming part of it is probably the only part where there's any kind of fault, but that's just an experience thing. Otherwise, I think a lot of the beaters made a lot of really good decisions here. I think it's a really promising sort of look for where A&M and UT beater play is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, any closing thoughts?
The funniest thing I had was all those crazy interactions. The end result is a tied score, and
That's true.
Bludger Control was traded. That's all that happened.
Exactly. That's what makes it so fun. As a
Yeah.
beater, I'm not even watching the score. Just the interactions are the most interesting part for me. But,
Exactly. Exactly. Me too.
well, I appreciate you coming on, walking through this play with me. And yeah, good luck out there in California. And we're going to miss you down here in Texas. And remember to check in and root for your favorite teams.
Oh, I'm still a Texas fan, but yeah, thank you for having me. This has been really fun.
Yeah, no problem. You take it easy, Sally.
You too. Bye, Juan.
Bye.